So you've learned from Glenn about scriptural worship, assembling with the church in Armidale. You still working as a
farm manager.
Farm manager. How did you go from that life with now a newborn baby boy into deciding you wanted to become a gospel preacher?
Well, Glenn and Reba are the most wonderful Christians I can think of, and they constantly invited Anne and myself to go to their house for a meal and a Bible study. And so we would do that several times a week, and we wouldn't get home till after midnight, and I'd get up early in the morning to start work. I developed the ability to power nap during my lunch break just so I could survive. And so I was studying with Glenn a lot and learning a lot. Now, the farm that I was managing was closing in 1988. Yeah, and I was offered a job way out in the country managing another farm, but that would take us away from the church. So I knew that there had to be a change of some sort. And Glenn said to me, "Have you thought about preaching?"
As Glenn is wont to do.
As he is wont to do. And I said, "No." He says, "Well, you need to think about it because you would be good at it." He encouraged me greatly. And so that's how I started thinking about it. And so when the farm was closing, we packed up and moved down to stay with Glenn and Reba for about a month as I studied with him even more down there.
So, what year? Remind me what year Glenn and Reba moved back to the States.
That would be
89.
89.
And did you start preaching full time then?
I started preaching. What happened was we stayed with Glenn and Reba when Jamie was a little baby for a month, and then he had organized a preaching tour in the U.S.
Okay.
And so we spent 3 months driving around, going to different congregations. We were so warmly received. I was a very green young man with just a small bundle of sermons that Anne learnt by heart.
Yes, I've definitely been there.
And through that, and the letter that Glenn had written, there were congregations that agreed to support me.
Okay.
And so Glenn and Reba, once we came back, Glenn and Reba was still in the country for a few months. Sephra was born, and then they moved back, and I was kind of left on my own to do the learning myself.
Yeah, find your way in the dark.
Yeah.
Well, this is all great, and appreciate you sharing a little bit about yourself and how you came into gospel preaching. I think a lot of what you said, I can relate to. When I was in my early 20s, I had not really thought about preaching as a profession, but I was encouraged by some brethren whom I loved and respected to consider it. So I think that's wonderful and a great message for all of our older preachers and older brethren to find those young men who have some talent and encourage them. It might be that they've just never even thought about it, never even considered it as a possibility.